Welcome to the first in a series of podcasts about people living with Parkinson's. I was diagnosed 3 years ago and I found advice from other people very helpful. And today we have Alison Anderson, who's a mover and a shaker in the southwest of England, who has Parkinson's and has been helping lots of other people along the way with various groups she's involved with. We're going to hear about this shortly.
Thank you.
So, Alison, tell me about when you were first diagnosed. How did that come about and how did you react to that?
I was diagnosed 10 years ago this summer, which is incredible. It has actually, it's gone. I think probably the first 18 months felt like they were in slow motion. And then after that, things started to pick up.
Right.
But I was diagnosed, I'd had 3 years of symptoms. Being a nurse, I buried my head in the sand, pretended it wasn't happening. And
somebody else has those symptoms, not me.
Yeah. So there's lots of things like I couldn't work my computer mouse. I had trouble writing. I had a tremor.
Things were starting to add up.
Yeah, but they were so disparate. Initially I didn't put them all together.
No.
And then when I did, I went to see a GP and she said straight away, you need to see a neurologist.
Right. Did it twig then, or did you kind of have it at the back of your mind?
I knew when I saw her in the GP practice, because they make you do all these things that you never do in daily life.
I know, and tapping
and the fingers.
The worst one was drawing a kind of snail circle. And when I was diagnosed, I couldn't even draw a circle and I couldn't sign my name. It's like, oh my goodness, you know, what's going to happen to me?
Yeah, well,
I don't know if you experienced the same thing.
Yeah, I remember having to write on a page in my notes and do the tap test. You tap 2 corners of the page as quickly as possible.
I think anyone can do that.
I know, but it's things that you never have to do in everyday life. I don't know where they've devised the test from. But obviously there was a big difference between my left and my right side. And I knew then there was something significantly wrong.
And how did you react to being told?
I think I was in shock, really. I think when I heard the words, I remember thinking, that's not good. But even from my nursing days, I remember looking after people with quite advanced Parkinson's. So I had an idea of what it was like, but I still came home and immediately looked it up on the internet.
Right.
And it was
the worst thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I would not recommend anybody to look on the internet within the first few weeks of diagnosis. It's quite a scary place. But I came home, I remember we had a glass of Prosecco, sat in the garden, told my husband. And I think I cried every morning and every night for 3 months. It was the first thing I thought about every morning when I woke up, last thing I thought about every night. And it took me a long time to get beyond that.
How did you get beyond that? Because you have got beyond that now. And I know everyone listening who has Parkinson's can relate to that feeling. Yeah. But how did you pull yourself out of it? Or did your husband pull yourself out of it over a glass of Prosecco? Tell me the story there.
I don't know that I consciously thought about how I was going to get out. I remember thinking some days, I don't want to feel like this every day. This is awful feeling.
This isn't helping me.
This isn't helpful, but I didn't know what to do about it. I remember a friend who was a GP gave me some very good advice that I've put to other people, just as a suggestion. She said, look after yourself, listen to your body, look after yourself and do something that makes you smile every day, no matter how little. And that's kind of stuck with me. Just, do something that makes you feel happy, whether it's taking the dog for a walk in the park. Do something that makes you smile, makes you relax, because life can be busy and it can be hard.
Well, we met your dog earlier, and the dog can make you very happy as well. So cute dog.
Absolutely.
So what were those 3 things again? So remind us.
Listen to your body.
Listen to your body.
I think she was saying, when you need to sleep. If you need to
don't feel guilty and press through.
If you feel you need to cry, have a cry. If you want to be outside doing exercise, go outside and do whatever your body tells you.
To be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself, which I am very kind to myself.
And do something that makes you happy every day.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is just take it one day at a time. It's really difficult to say by this time next year I want to be doing this, or I think you have to take it a day at a time, and you don't know how you're going to feel on any given day.
And you have bad days and good days. Tell me about how you dig yourself out of the bad days.
Sometimes I don't dig myself out the bad days. I just, allow them to if it's a particularly bad day, I sometimes don't fight it as such.
Listen to your body again.
I think if it's a particularly bad day, I might indulge and just not get up till 10 o'clock, just take it easy, take the dog to the park, go for a long walk, do something that is easy and restful. And
it's hard to predict when you're going to have a bad day or why you have a bad day. Something happens, or that you've eaten too quickly after taking the tablets, or something has set you off and you can't fight it. You just have to go with it, don't you?
I think that's one of the biggest challenges of Parkinson's, certainly as time's gone on. The unpredictable nature. You just don't know whether you're going to be feeling on top of things and firing on pretty much all cylinders, as you can do it sometimes. And then other times it really falls apart. And, some of the simplest tasks are really difficult to do. And I think that unpredictable nature can make it very difficult to deal with.
Like sometimes you can write and type and it's all easy going. Yeah. And then sometimes it's hard to pick up a pen without shaking. You feel quite self-conscious and you go into a loop of feeling self-conscious.
And you don't, like you say, there's so many things can affect you. Your stress levels, the temperature outside, the hot, the cold, if you're tired, whether you've slept, there's so many things, hormones, there's so many things can affect how your Parkinson's is. It's just, that's what I find most challenging, because there's not one thing that you can do to make it, it's not like you can say, well, I won't do that again and then I know I'll be all right, because the next day it might be completely different.
We were talking about medications before this, about the number and styles and types. We all kind of guinea pigs and test, and some of them work really well and some don't. Tell me about your experience of medication. Has that made a difference and helped you in your journey over the last 10 years?
It has helped me. I don't think I could, I know I couldn't have done it without medication. But I had when I was diagnosed, I made a pact with myself that I wasn't going to take any medication for 12 months. I think that's completely irrational. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody else.
But you're not the first person I've heard say that.
No.
You feel like, well, put it off as long as possible until you actually really, really need to take it, and kind of lengthen the process. And I understand psychology, but you wouldn't recommend that. You'd say, listen to the doctor and the neurologist.
And listen to your body. Mine was definitely saying there's something wrong.
Dopamine.
Absolutely. And as soon as I started taking it, I started to feel better.
Oh, right. In what way?
I felt less tremulous. I think I had a lot less pain. I hadn't realised how much pain I was getting from the Parkinson's. I think it's from stiffness and holding yourself abnormally. So once I got a bit more even and upright, a lot of my pain and discomfort went. So that made life a whole lot easier.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, we met a few months ago. We were introduced by Cure Parkinson's.
We were.
Fantastic organisation we're both very much involved with. One of the things that everyone says about you, you're a very keen cyclist.
I am.
So when I was diagnosed, I thought I kind of put a cross against all the things I'd never be able to do again. Playing the clarinet, which I've picked up again. Yeah. Cycling, I thought I'd be in a wheelchair immediately and somebody have to push me around. But cycling has been a kind of a saviour to both of us, in a sense, spin classes and getting out on the road. But you take it very seriously. So tell me about how seriously you've been taking it over the last few years.
Well, I didn't mean to take it very seriously. It kind of happened by accident. A friend said to me, as part of that journey, I guess, from being fairly newly diagnosed, probably about 6 months down the line, she said, I think you need a challenge, Alison. You need something to focus your energy, to put your mind to.
Get your teeth into and take your mind off.
And I think she was thinking, maybe a couch to 5K or couch to 5K. Yeah, couch to 5K. So we Googled a few things, and before the end of the day had finished, we'd signed up for 16 people to cycle Vietnam to Cambodia. Right. And then we spent 2 or 3 months recruiting those people to do the challenge with us.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2017. Right. We did that. So that was about 1.5 years after diagnosis.
I mean, would that be a kind of something that's common in your life? You see a challenge and well, that's easy. I can do a bigger challenge than that. And you suddenly end up cycling to Cambodia.
No, didn't recognise that in myself at all. But I think my friend was absolutely right. I needed something to focus my energy on. I had given up work at that time. Had stopped working.
Right.
Through choice. But I did need something to channel my energy. And I started cycling, and I haven't really stopped since. And when we got back from Vietnam to Cambodia, all of us had the absolute trip of a lifetime. It was such an adventure.
And were these people who had Parkinson?
No, none of them had Parkinson's except for me. And that
but
was...
you were the organiser.
I organised it.
Which
I was the team
inspiring
leader.
in itself.
So I had lots of people saying to me, thank goodness you've got Parkinson's, because I've just had the best trip of my life. I think they were joking. I hope they were joking.
Some friends, yeah.
I know. And then the following year we did Land's End to John O'Groats. I think I got back home from Vietnam and Cambodia having had such a good time.
Yeah.
And I missed the camaraderie. I missed going out on my bike with, the same people. And so we signed up for Land's End to John O'Groats, and most of the same people and a few others joined us for that.
And how long did that take?
That took 2 weeks.
And talk about Cambodia and Land's End John O'Groats. How did that change your kind of attitude and your confidence and self-belief? Did you feel a kind of better person as a result of doing that?
I felt physically better. And I think I remember reading that people who are sociable and engaged with other people with Parkinson's tend to do better than people who are isolated. It kind of makes sense.
Looking and extrovert rather than introvert.
Yeah. So I remember thinking that the cycling, there was a few angles to it. I think there's the physical. Definitely the exercise makes me feel better, although I probably take it to the limit, and there's plenty of days when I feel worse or tired. But there's a social aspect as well. I think that definitely I was buoyed by the kind of camaraderie and the fun and the excitement of planning these trips, organising them, coercing other people to join me. And
you were also, I guess, saying, well, I believe you can do it. And they were saying, I can't do it. And you're saying, well, I can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
There's nothing, no excuse.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you think since your diagnosis 10 years ago, you've had more of a zest for life? Because you don't know how long you're going to be mobile and able to cycle these places. I know, but personally, I feel like, well, I want to achieve all these different things while I can. Yeah. More driven and more kind of motivated than ever before. Would you say that you find that same as well?
Absolutely. I think it makes you think that you can't put off indefinitely the things that you want to do. So, you're absolutely right. I sign up every year for a challenge. Each year it gets a little bit bigger. I've brought on encourage other people with Parkinson's to join me. So when we started, there was only myself with Parkinson's. Right. When we cycled Norway this summer, there was 14 of us.
You just dropped that in, cycled Norway.
Yes, when I cycled Norway this summer, there was 14 of us with Parkinson's.
That was a very long trip as well. I've seen the pictures of that.
That was only about 600 kilometres.
Only 600 kilometres. I don't know what it is in miles, but it sounds a long way.
I think probably about
quicker than cycling to Cheltenham.
400 miles.
400 miles.
Yeah, but we had cycled from Cheltenham to Barcelona the year before. Right. So so I think I push myself to the absolute limit.
Yes.
But there's something in me that thrives on that. It's been good for me. It's been a great way of channeling my frustration, making me exercise more than I would have done otherwise. Because exercise, as you know, is good for people with Parkinson's. It's good for everybody.
It is. I know when I've been to a spin class, you feel kind of full of kind of endorphins and all these different things, and just physically moving and moving your body just gets you going too as well.
It does. And it stops, it helps the pain and the stiffness, and everything just feels a little bit easier, and I feel a bit lighter and a bit happier when I've exercised. And
now, not everyone watching today is going to think, I'm going to cycle to Barcelona.
I wouldn't recommend it either.
But, what about, how would somebody start moving and getting more mobile than they are today?
I think doing something, anything is better than doing nothing. So start small, find something you enjoy. With the best will in the world, if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to stick at it. So find something you enjoy, try and get somebody else to go along with you to, commit with a friend to joining a class or going for a walk. I think if you make a commitment with somebody else, you're much less likely to back out of it.
Need a buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. And enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Find something that, if you try something and you don't enjoy it, try something else. It doesn't matter what it is, you just keep moving.
Alison, that's been fantastic. You're full of fantastic advice, and good luck with your next cycle adventure. We look forward to hearing about it. Thanks so much for joining us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. Thank you for speaking to me.